weekend concludes with the Fighting Illini paying a visit to Pinnacle Bank Arena in Lincoln. Both teams have a lot to play for heading towards the Big Ten tournament. But winning on the Huskers' home court is always a challenge. Sunday night Big Ten action is next. The moonlight is shining on Pinnacle Bank Arena for the fans' arrival for some Sunday night Big Ten basketball. Tonight, come hell or high water, Nebraska or Illinois can build momentum with the Big Ten tournament just days away. Hi, everybody. Alongside Sean Morris, I'm Kevin Kugler. Wonderful to have you with us tonight as we close out another week of Big Ten basketball. And a critical game for both of these teams, Sean. Nebraska and Illinois trying to avoid playing on Wednesday at the Big Ten tournament.
And Illinois comes into Lincoln with a great deal of momentum, a couple of impressive wins. Nebraska's been very tough at home, especially defensively.
Well, and Illinois has been very good with defense, and they've also been very good with Malcolm Hill.
Malcolm Hill, the leading scorer for Illinois. And Kevin, he's also a willing and able playmaker. This is a guy that averages 3 assists per ball game, leads the team in that category. So Nebraska's going to have their hands full because Malcolm Hill can create shots not only for himself but for others, especially over the last 2 ball games. Been really good distributing the basketball for Coach John Gross.
Well, we'd be lying if we said we shouldn't pay attention to the backcourt of Nebraska as well, because that duo back there is prolific.
This is the meat of the offense for Nebraska, especially when you consider what Glenn Watson can do off the dribble. His ability to rise up and fire, very impressive. Ty Webster, not necessarily the most efficient over the last few ball games, still third in the conference in scoring.
The Nebraska Cornhuskers at home trying to get a big home court win. But standing in their way, the Illinois Fighting Illini, winners of 2 straight, and trying to continue the momentum. Tip-off is next. Basketball on BTN is brought to you in part by State Farm. Talk to an agent today at 800-STATE-FARM. Huskers getting ready to take on the Illinois Fighting Illini tonight to close out another week of Big Ten basketball. The tournament looming in just days, and the standings entering play tonight, Sean Morris. You see why this game's important. Nebraska and Illinois are hovering right above that second yellow line. The teams below that yellow line are playing on Wednesday as of now in the Big Ten tournament.
And when you consider what Nebraska has done on the defensive end of the floor, they've had an impact on the upper echelon teams as well. If you go back to the game versus Wisconsin, even though Nebraska came up on the short end of that, they put in place a defensive game plan with successive opponents have really put the good use. As a result, Wisconsin has struggled over the last 3 or 4.
Michigan State winning earlier today over Wisconsin. They are starting to elevate in those standings as well. Watch out for the Spartans. Hard to believe. Here we are in March, and Tom Izzo's team's playing well again.
Watch out for Michigan State, but also how about Minnesota, winners of 7 in a row.
Our Buffalo Wild Wings starting lineup. You talked about Malcolm Hill. Tracy Abrams has had some struggles all year long. Looks like he started to break out of it over the last few games.
Knocked down a couple of threes last time out in that big win versus Northwestern in Champaign.
John Gross would certainly like to see that trend continue for his veteran, his senior, who's got already 2 degrees in hand in Tracy Abrams. For Nebraska, the Buffalo Wild Wings starting lineup. We talked about the backcourt. How about the front court, and specifically the growth of Jordy Chimanga?
Jordy Chimanga really becoming more and more confident on the offensive end of the floor, and Michael Jacobson leading the conference in offensive rebounds.
Tim Miles, the head coach of the Huskers, in his 5th season. They've won 2 out of their last 3 games. He was not thrilled with how things went at Michigan State the other night, but he does like the way his team has fought a win over Penn State at home here on Valentine's Day before the road win at Ohio State, an improving Buckeye team.
Defensively, they've been very, very good. And when you have a backcourt of Ty Webster and Glenn Watson, when they're able to get out in the open floor, especially Watson. Kevin, for folks that may not have had a chance to see Glenn Watson play with any consistency, he is as fine a player in the open floor with his ability to come to a complete stop after a hard dribble and rise up as anyone you're going to see.
Maverick Morgan controls the tip, and here we go. Nebraska in their throwback unis tonight, paying tribute to the 1986-87 team. So since they're in red, Illinois could go alternate color. They're going gray tonight. Morgan against Chimanga, one-on-one. Turns down the baseline and gets the easy 2.
Really nice job of going inside, and the senior taking it at the freshman. Now, with that post, let's see if in a few possessions, if Morgan now takes Chimanga out to the short corner, because Morgan can hit that mid-range jump shot.
13 straight starts for Maverick Morgan. He starts Illinois off with the easy 2. Here's Jacobson with 13 to shoot for the Huskers. Ty Webster trying to get it inside. There's Maverick Morgan with the steal.
Nice job by Morgan of not allowing Chimanga to seal him off and come over the top.
Malcolm Hill thought about pulling the trigger on that one. Now he'll pull. And off the mark, but an offensive rebound. Maverick Morgan. Already a fast start for Morgan. We're 1 minute in, and the three a little strong. Long rebound to Ty Webster as Tijon Lucas misses on his first. Webster driving right at the freshman and takes it to the rim.
Nice job of Webster staying with the play on both ends of the floor, and an extra possession right now.
And Webster on the drive is fouled by Lucas. No basket. Hit a foul first before the hoop.
In transition here, watch what Webster does, Kevin. He attacks that inside foot. He understands that the defender, Lucas, is backpedaling. Then he doesn't give up on the play. That's just basketball savvy. That's a senior taking advantage of the inexperience of a freshman, much like we saw Illinois do with their big Maverick Morgan, the senior, on the freshman Chimanga on the other end.
He had Glenn Watson in that far corner briefly, but he couldn't get the cross-court pass to him.
But because Watson gave himself up with that sprint, it gave the defending backpedaling something else to think about.
Watson got his three anyway. Opposite corner, and he drains the three to give the Huskers a 5-2 lead. Tijon Lucas moved into the starting lineup over the last 9 games now. He's been a nice find for John Gross's Illinois team, and there's an offensive foul going against Tracy Abrams.
Back to your point about Lucas, especially on the defensive end of the floor, very active hands and plays very, very confidently. His decision-making in the open floor has been very impressive.
We were down there for a game on BTN last year when Tijon Lucas, as a high school senior, was playing in Champaign. He played there the night before Illinois had a game, broke his leg in 2 places in a game in Champaign, and the first time he could do anything was the first day of practice this year. So it took him a little while, but he's found himself a nice fit in that lineup as Chimanga had it stripped out of his hands. It'll stay with the Huskers.
And a pretty good feed in there, but what Chimanga did was he brought the ball down. That allowed good entry feed. Now watch what Chimanga does. Rather than keep it high, he brings it down, and that allows Lucas to come over and strip it away.
Chimanga tracks down the inbound. Tough catch for Jacobson. Here's Webster open for a 3. And the rebound tipped out, but tipped out to Taylor.
Nice job by Jacobson to keeping that alive.
Webster with the step back. That's not going to go when it's out of bounds to Illinois.
Boy, Jacobson, you better put a body on him, because until he either corrals the rebound or it goes out of bounds, he's not giving up.
Ty Webster, we saw him strong on that first 3. He struggled of late from behind the arc. He started the year 34% from behind the arc in his first 16 games. Last 11, down to 27% from 3.
And as a result, right now, he's at 31% overall for the year.
10 to shoot for Tracy Abrams.
A little bit of a zone, kind of a matchup look right now defensively for Nebraska.
Abrams has to launch from deep, and he hits. Little grin on the face of Tracy Abrams, trying to find the rhythm he had to start the year when he was 2nd in the nation from 3 after the first 12 games.
Shot that very confidently and rose up. When he has struggled shooting, he hasn't been able to get his legs under him. Not the case there.
Chimanga with the bobble, and it's scooped up on a turnover. Long pass ahead. Webster with the interception. Watson now will back it out. Husker team has been in so many close games this year. 10 of their 15 games in conference decided by 8 points or less as the foul's called underneath against Tracy Abrams, and that's his 2nd.
And what they got Abrams, he was trying to get over the top of the screen. But what he did is he grabbed the jersey, drawing the attention of the official. He was trying to get low to get over the top of that screen to contest the pass, but just wasn't able to perform it.
Here's Taylor. Taylor on the attack.
Good defense by Black.
Yeah, Black there as well as Watson drives it inside. Jacobson once more battling for the rebound. Nice catch by Chimanga, and he takes it right up.
What a great catch by Chimanga, but again, Kevin, that basket made possible because of the hustle of Michael Jacobson.
5 points off turnovers for Nebraska. LaRon Black with the 3, and Watson.
Awful shot. You didn't reverse the basketball. You can get that shot anytime you want. You didn't force Nebraska to exert anything defensively.
And Chimanga with a travel as he collides underneath with Black.
And even though that turnover is going to go to Chimanga, if you're the person entering the ball, you have to understand that Chimanga needs to get set. He's not at a position right now where he can create something for himself. That's the second turnover by Chimanga, but both of them have come because his teammates have put him in a bad spot.
Michael Finke on the floor for Illinois. Leads the Big Ten in conference games, shooting from the outside. And a foul going to be called as Morgan rolls to the basket. Timeout on the floor. 15:52 remaining in the first.
And a nice job by Tracy Abrams. He's on the bench now in foul trouble, but he shows what he can do when he's in the ball game. And Michael Jacobson keeping things alive in Lincoln.
Tonight, it's an all-new episode of BTN's original The Journey, Big Ten Basketball 2017. Then our hoops experts cover the major topics in college basketball on Big Ten Basketball and beyond right after our game on BTN. And tomorrow will be a feature in the new episode of The Journey tonight. The Husker legacy, who split his time between Lincoln and Chicago, gets himself a starring role tonight on The Journey.
And he's been a star once that ball goes up on the backboard. This was a guy that Nebraska really missed him when he was out with that foot injury. 1 in 6 in his absence. And since he's been able to shake off the rust, been a valuable contributor on the offensive end, especially rebounding the ball for Nebraska.
Well, when he was out, opponents shot 50% from behind the arc against Nebraska. As the inbound comes to Hill, he cannot pull that in. There's Morrow with the rebound. So Morrow and Jacobson comprise the front line now for Nebraska, with Chimanga on the bench after picking up a foul a moment ago.
Prior to his injury, Morrow was leading the Big Ten in offensive rebounds, and when he was forced to the bench with the injury, Jacobson assumed that mantle.
Sean Morris had him before the injury as one of his 5 most improved players in the league.
I'm sure that was a tremendous honor for the young man.
Taylor around the screen, the jumper won't go, and the rebound to Malcolm Hill. Hill going end-to-end, got all the way to the rim and lays it in.
That's just a breakdown defensively by Nebraska, and a rare one because no red jersey got in his way.
Malcolm Hill does almost everything right on the floor. Whether it be scoring, rebounding, dishing.
He'll guard multiple positions. It's very rare that a team's best offensive player will also draw a stringent defensive assignment regardless of the opponent.
Nice tip try by Taylor. He couldn't get the roll. Good effort by Taylor. Nebraska really crashing the glass. Long pass ahead to Morgan. Jalen Coleman lands on the attack. The tip by Morgan won't go, and Morrow the rebound.
Nice contest because you have the ability to leave your feet down there and contest as Morrow did. Really good job by Morrow, and they ran Coleman lands off the three-point line.
Tune into WGN America for an all-new season of Underground on March 8th.
First personal 2004 on the Illini. Checking in with the Huskers, number 10, Jack McVeigh.
First foul on Malcolm Hill. Team foul number 4 on Illinois. 1 so far whistled against the Huskers.
Now, if you're Illinois, you have to be cognizant of the fact that Jack McVeigh checked in. Watch him trailing the play. He's been shooting the 3-ball very well over the last 5 or 6 ball games for Nebraska. So you must locate him, especially in transition.
The jumper over Morgan, and Finke the rebound.
Yeah, that did not necessarily fit what Coach Tim Miles did. He's walking down talking to no one in particular right now.
Sounds like my days in high school. Coleman lands. The bounce to Morgan. The jumper won't go, and Watson the rebound.
Don't worry, Kevin. I talk to people that aren't there all the time. It's all right.
Tyler Webster.
Good job by Lucas in moving his feet. Really nice job by the freshman.
Well, he's just grown in his role. So much more comfortable now than he was even a month ago. And that'll be knocked out by Maverick Morgan.
Checking in with Illinois, number 12.
Our Motel 6 sixth man tonight is that freshman, Kipper Nichols. And about a month or so ago, John Gross said, you know what, we're going to play more T-John Lucas. We're going to play Kipper Nichols. 6 points, 3 rebounds for Kipper Nichols. Had 16 earlier against Minnesota. Over the last 5 games, almost 8 points per game. Awfully good production for the freshman from Cleveland.
And not just on the offensive end for both of those players you just mentioned, Kevin, but I think what they've really brought is a defensive intensity and activity, which has allowed Illinois to play better and string together these 2 impressive wins over the last week.
Huskers have missed their last 4 against this Illinois defense. McVeigh harassed by Coleman Lands with 1 to shoot, has to force it up. And the rebound back on the floor. Tracy Abrams with those 2 fouls able to get the board.
And a nice job of Abrams of putting his body on Morrow.
Nichols hits the deep shot. That's a 3. And a timeout taken by Nebraska with Illinois up by 3. 13:21 remaining in the first. We'll step aside in Lincoln. Quick timeout to do some coaching with his young squad. Back to work down by 3. Watson bumped by Nichols. McVeigh there to clean it up.
This is showing the defensive versatility of Nichols. He's guarded the 3 spot. Now he's guarding the point.
Nice. Watson, but a good reach to get the block inside by Malcolm Hill. Kind of swiped behind it to knock it out of the hands of Watson.
What a great move by Watson. Now the shot fake allows him to turn the corner on Nichols, and you mentioned it. Excellent help side defense there by Hill.
And Webster fouled by Nichols for Kipper Nichols, his first 15 foul.
This has been the biggest change that I've noticed in Illinois over the past 3 weeks. It's been on the defensive end of the floor, and the record has improved as a result. They're far more active, especially with the hands, Kevin. A lot of deflections. And in the early part of the season, we just felt that they allowed the opposition to get comfortable offensively. Not so over the past couple of weeks.
Intensity has been ratcheted up for Illinois on this defensive end.
Well, Nichols is just fighting through everything. They're switching everything.
Morrow underneath, and a foul is going to be called. LaRon Black, I believe, is going to pick up his first. He's not happy about it.
Really tough sequence by Illinois defensively, and this pass is ill-advised because even if he comes down with that, there's nothing positive that Morrow can do with it. If he catches this, Kevin, look where he is. He's underneath the basket. That's probably going to be a turnover, whether that momentum carries him out of bounds or he steps on the end line.
Back to work on offense. Down by 3. Missed their last 5 attempts from the floor. Morrow trying to change it. Rejected inside. Good work by Kipper Nichols again. Coleman Lands with the 3.
That is not going to make Nebraska happy because that's what Coleman Lands does. He only played 2 minutes last time out versus Northwestern with a foot injury. And on the defensive end of the floor, Nebraska has not forced him to move laterally here yet.
Morrow, double team comes, rejected by Malcolm Hill.
Well, Malcolm Hill is just helping out on the defensive end of the floor. Once that ball handler puts the ball on the deck, Hill is really timing the double team well.
Here's Abrams attacking, gets inside, won't go. Nichols able to track it down. Nichols with the spin to the rim. Restless crowd in Lincoln as Illinois stretched it to an 8-point lead on this 10-0 run.
Yeah, I'm not going to be surprised if they get Jacobson back in the ball game because he was providing some energy, and that on the offensive end of the floor seems to be what has been lacking the last few possessions for Nebraska.
McVeigh on the take, got it all the way inside.
And he forced Coleman Lands to move and test that ankle, something that I was surprised they waited that long to do. Good recognition by McVeigh.
Abrams, tough pass, Hill there. Finke, open 3. And Webster now starts it for the Huskers. Nebraska 4 of 14, Sean, from the floor.
Well, that's a difficult pass. They're fortunate that wasn't picked off.
Webster got an open look. Can't get the roll as Coleman Lands gets the board.
And you mentioned his three-point shooting woes. the one common theme with all the misses, they've all been short. Every one.
Nichols with the runner over Roby. Kipper Nichols working hard. Seeing some youngsters really play hard here tonight.
And that will get you sustained minutes.
Gross has shrunk that rotation down to 8. Both Nichols and Lucas, the freshmen, huge parts of that now shrunken rotation as Evan Taylor gets to the rim for 2.
Both teams, if you look over to the scores table, Kevin, it's like a hockey game broke out. A line shift from each squad ready to check in.
To shoot for Hill. And a foul is going to be called on Roby. That'll be Roby's first personal foul.
Illinois' defense of late has been fantastic, and Kipper Nichols is a great example. His ability to defend multiple positions pays off for an open 3 by Coleman Lands.
Tough shot off the rim. Got his rebound back, put it up. No good. Rebound Nebraska, and that's it. And they've won their first game in the Big Ten tournament.
We are days away from convening in Washington, D.C. We're also days away from knowing where anybody's going to be seated for that Big Ten tournament. This last week of the conference season is going to be wild. You are not going to... If I were you, I'd just take the batteries out of the remote so it doesn't actually leave BTN, so you can see anything and everything that goes on in this league.
In addition to providing excellent play-by-play, also fantastic home improvement advice. You do it all, Kevin. But it's going to be a tremendous tournament. I mean, it's going to be as wide open as any in recent memory. No question about it.
Malcolm Hill with the turnaround jumper, a little bit strong. Webster there to secure the rebound.
And Chimanga back in the ballgame. Let's see if they try to get something going inside here.
Webster trying to take it down low. And Jariah Horn off the bench tonight now for Nebraska. Trying to find his rhythm. He had a great game against Purdue several games ago, 16 points off the bench. Glenn Watson bobbled by Chimanga. 4 to shoot. Big freshman with the dart, and that's swatted out of bounds to Illinois.
And again, almost another turnover. If you're Watson, you have to understand, at this point in Chimanga's career, Kevin, he has to be set before you get him the basketball. You can't try to allow him to make a play off the move. He'll get there. He just hasn't reached that part of his game yet.
And his growth has been substantial from the start of the season to now. Coleman Lands has that one ricochet off into the arms of Jacobson, who's fouled. That'll be team foul number 7 on Illinois, so the Huskers are going to get some free throws the rest of the way.
And a nice job by Jacobson of utilizing his body and blocking out and forcing Illinois to give the contact, and I think that's the second on Black.
You are correct. So 2 on Black and 2 on Abrams for Illinois. And Michael Jacobson at 64% this year as a free throw shooter will have a one-on-one opportunity. In the last few games, Michael Jacobson's scoring has been down, just 3 points per game. But he's not had a lot of opportunities to take shots. He's only attempted 8 field goals over the last 3 games combined.
Yeah, his primary role thus far has been just to keep plays alive, and if he can't corral the offensive rebound, to keep it alive for a teammate. And his effort plays have really made a difference for Nebraska, especially since the start of the conference season.
2-point lead for Illinois. The Illini scoring drought now over 3 minutes. Maverick Morgan will try to change it here one-on-one against Chimanga. This is how he started the game, with the opposite shoulder, same result.
And because he went to the left hand the first time he had isolated the freshman, that little shimmy move and the shoulder fake going to his left froze Chimanga just enough to allow him to turn over that strong left shoulder with the right hand.
There's Jacobson. Got a screen from Chimanga.
Good help by Hill.
12 to shoot. There's Jacobson once more. Jariah Horn now on the attack. 5 to shoot. Watson with 2 to shoot. Jacobson has to launch the 3. Chimanga battling, but it's secured by Coleman Lands.
The operative turn there was launch, because that thing nearly hit the shot clock.
4-point game, Illinois with the lead in the ball.
Let's see if they try to go back to Morgan again.
goes again, and again, success down low.
And that's going to make an interesting decision for Nebraska right now. Do they go to the double team and provide the opportunity for a guy like Coleman Lance to step into a 3 or Hill? Because right now, if you're Illinois, you go right back inside to Maverick Morgan until Nebraska adjusts.
Webster will try the 3. This one falls for Ty Webster. It's a big bucket for Webster. We mentioned it earlier, really struggling from outside.
And they've got Hill and Morgan isolated on this near side of the floor, Kevin. Now they set a ball screen down low to try to free up Morgan. Good job by Chimanga being there.
Dijon Lucas. There's Morgan going deeper too. Same result for Maverick Morgan. What a start. He's got 8.
Yeah, and the freshman Jordy Chimanga, I'm not sure what he's majoring in, but he's getting a graduate degree right now in post play and mid-range play from the senior Maverick Morgan.
Webster with 15 to shoot. Horn, he'll try the 3. He'll hit the 3.
You go right back there. You go right back to Maverick Morgan.
Finke looking in that direction. Chimanga really working. But here's Morgan, one-on-one again. Going to work. This time he can't get it to go.
Pretty good job by Chimanga of bodying up.
Webster end to end to the rim and a foul. Second foul on Lucas brings us to a timeout with a tie game.
His first trip to Pinnacle Bank Arena and his first trip back to Husker Nation since 2008. Please welcome Alex Murray.
Legends weekend here in Lincoln, and one of the more recent legends of Nebraska basketball, Alex Marich, who's enjoyed a terrific career overseas, part of the Australian Olympic team in 2012, back in Lincoln, still playing professionally. And a post that former Husker coach Doc Sadler tweeted about the other day is one of the best to ever wear the red.
And one of the best to wear the red currently for the Nebraska Cornhuskers is Ty Webster. Now watch how he lands here, Kevin. You and I were at shoot-around today. He did not participate in shoot-around because he had a little bit of a problem with that right hip, that upper hip area. He lands awkwardly on that leg, and it'll be interesting to see if Nebraska senses that and maybe tries to make him move laterally, because he did not participate in any activities today.
So far, he's shown the explosion. That's 8 points already for Ty Webster. They went end-to-end there to give the Huskers the lead. Lucas to work against Watson.
Watson is all over him.
It's a great matchup in that backcourt between those two young stars of this league, as Maverick Morgan drains it again. Boy, the senior on the road in Lincoln, having himself a night, 10 points.
And that's what makes him such a difficult matchup, because of his ability to step into the short corner, and that open shot is possible because of his ability also to score with his back to the basket.
Ty Webster getting to the rim for 2.
And what Watson is doing defensively, he is really trying to set up Lucas for a steal. I mean, he is really measuring the freshman. His eyes are right at his chest. He's trying to measure him up, not necessarily right now, but maybe in the future, to pick his pocket.
Malcolm Hill working against Ty Webster. 9 to shoot for Tracy Abrams. Playing with 2 fouls, attacking Jariah Horn, the step back for Abrams.
And I tell you, Abrams made a mistake. He had Morgan on the pick and pop just inside the three-point line.
Huskers by 1 with the ball. Jump pass down to Ed Morrow for 2.
And what a beautiful pass by Webster. You hit it right on the head, Kevin. That pass led Morrow right into his shooting motion where he could do something with it. Not too hard, put just enough air under it. He was able to run under it. And the football coach, Mike Riley, he's happy. Hey, I can deliver a pass like that as well.
Tuesday, it's a great doubleheader of action as teams look to make a late season run. First, Rutgers takes on Maryland, followed by Penn State and Ohio State. Coverage starting 6:30 Eastern on Tuesday. Presented by Quicken Loans on BTN and streaming live on BTN to go. Every game next week has importance for somebody in that game. I mean, it is going to be a wonderful final week in the Big Ten Conference.
As we take a look at those two ball games, no one wants to go to Piscataway and play Rutgers. They play so hard, and Maryland is struggling, especially on the defensive end of the floor right now. And Ohio State coming off an impressive win earlier this week against Wisconsin. And Penn State, their freshman, as talented as any you're going to see.
Point lead for Nebraska. Malcolm Hill, quiet so far, Sean, just 2 points.
But he's made his impact known, especially on the defensive end of the floor. And I think right now, with Morgan on the bench, they're trying to get Morgan a little bit of rest, extra rest, with the next media timeout coming for the stretch run of the first half.
The spark for Nebraska has been Ty Webster. The Huskers had that big slump early, but they've hit their last 5 from the floor, and Webster's been the catalyst.
And because they've been able to get to the basket, Illinois responds with the 2-3 zone, trying to take away the dribble drives, which have hurt them over the last 3 or 4 minutes.
8 on the shot clock. Good pass inside to Webster. Now Morrow trying to work his way to the rim. Finke had it. It's poked away to Illinois. Hill. Got an open look. Coleman lands, deep 3. And he hits. Tied at 26. Coming up the half, the State Farm halftime report. Dave Refson, Stephen Bardo, Mike DeCourcy in our BTN studios in Chicago. We'll break it all down for you coming up on the State Farm halftime report.
And you have to locate Coleman lands and make him put the ball on the floor. You cannot allow him to be a catch and release because he has very, very good range.
Jacobson too strong on that one. There's Coleman lands with the range on the rebound.
Good job by Hill of recognizing he has a smaller defender on him.
The kick to Nichols. And Webster climbing fences to get that rebound. Webster will go to work once more. Now Watson on a look. The floater poked out by Hill to Nebraska. Uriah Horn looks for a 3 every time he touches the ball. And that one taken away from Watson in the corner by Kipper Nichols.
Boy, Nichols is so active.
Oh, how about a pass? Finke is fouled by Morrow on a beautiful feed from Tijon Lucas.
Well, I just have been so impressed since his insertion into the lineup. Watch Lucas with his head up, and watch how he delivers his pass. That's a right-handed player. If he tries to make that one-handed pass with his strong hand, there's no way, because he's going to have to come across his body and toward the defender. Because he had the ability to utilize the offhand, it's away from the defender and toward his teammate.
State Farm halftime report coming up. Even though that didn't result in a bucket, you may see that on the State Farm halftime report because that was just a cool pass. Talk to John Gross about Tijon Lucas. He'll say, look, the thing we knew right away, his IQ, his feel for the game, off the charts. And as he's grown more comfortable at this level, Sean, you can see all that.
And what you want from any position on your team, Kevin, but especially your point guard, does he make guys better? The answer so far in his young career in Champaign is a resounding yes.
1 point lead now for Illinois. Here's Uriah Horn. Muscles that one up. Webster flying in to get the loose ball.
Now the shot clock did not reset because it didn't hit the rim.
So 10 on the shot clock. Here's Horn once more. And Horn traveled with it. Turnover number 5 for Nebraska. And now the Huskers in a scoring drought. They'd hit their last 5. Now they've missed their last 4.
And it's a big reason for that was the defensive change by Illinois, where they went to the 2-3 zone to take away the dribble drives, which had really hurt them. They're going to try to force Nebraska to shoot over the top because this is not a very good three-point shooting team in Nebraska.
Finke peering inside. Nothing there. Now one-on-one against Isaiah Roby. Finke will back out for the 3.
Good job by Roby of coming up hands high and obstructing the vision of Finke.
5th rebound for Ed Morrow. Now Roby. The double team comes. Oh, nice tip by Abrams on the steal to get it to his own. Hill in transition, launches and hits the 3. Big moment here for Nebraska. They closed, remember, that first half against Michigan State with some struggles. As Roby skips it to McVeigh for a 3. Good look.
And a good sequence. A really good sequence.
And a foul is called against Illinois. Looks like Finke. Nope, it'll be on Morgan, his first.
But that was a nice sequence, even though it came up empty offensively for Nebraska. They get the ball in the corner. They throw it across to the opposite corner to McVeigh. Even though he didn't hit the shot, that's a shot he can hit, and it came off a ball reversal.
First free throw attempts for Morrow tonight.
This is not necessarily a strength of this young man, 56%.
Front end is good. He gets the bonus.
If you're Illinois now, you have to really be cognizant of the block out, because the odds would say that this is probably not going to be a make when you're talking about a 50% shooter.
Got the roll, though. That's a home roll for Ed Morrow.
And really stems. That's a big chain of events right there, because Illinois had the opportunity to come down and extend their lead. That's potentially a 4 or 5 point swing.
That won't roll home for Malcolm Hill. Now Nebraska on the push.
What that early shot did by Illinois gave them a chance at a 2-for-1.
Taylor over to Webster. McVeigh, wide open look. That's not going to go, but Morrow there for the offensive rebound. Now Nebraska can hold for the final shot.
That was big, because Illinois, I think, made a concerted effort to take a quick shot by Hill to try to get an extra possession, but the offensive rebound by Morrow takes that away.
Huskers have missed their last 6 from the floor, trying to close on a high note. Webster on the drive, lost it on the way up. Finke the rebound and a foul.
And good active hands made that possible. Abrams comes in. That's a gutsy play by Abrams, Kevin, because he already has 2 fouls. Webster's able to turn the corner, but he put the ball out in front of him. Watch what Abrams does. Abrams takes a swipe at it. That throws off the momentum of Webster, and as a result, will come the other way, and Nebraska looking to extend the defense to force Illinois to burn clock.
Second foul on Morrow. Inbound to Morgan. Morgan gives it back to Hill. Hill will get it off, and it is no good. Time has expired in the first half, and at the half, it's Illinois 30, Nebraska 28. After the break, stay tuned for the State Farm Halftime Report on BTN. Basketball on BTN is brought to you in part by Auto Owners Insurance, the no-problem people. Find your agent at AutoOwners.com. And in partnership with Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans, push button, get mortgage. Downtown Lincoln, Nebraska, Illinois leading on the road by a pair as we get ready to start the second half at Pinnacle Bank Arena. Alongside Sean Morris, I'm Kevin Kugler. It was a first half where we saw a lot of runs, but those runs, instead of being sparked by great offense, were usually sparked by defense.
And it was the defense switch made by Illinois which allowed them to enjoy this halftime lead, Kevin. Nebraska was able to turn the corner and get in the lane. Going to the 2-3 zone really stymied that, because this is a team in Nebraska next to last in the conference in three-point field goal percentage. Illinois is going to force them to shoot over the top.
Well, let's check out our Auto Owners game leaders from the first half. Maverick Morgan and Ty Webster, each with 10 points. Maverick Morgan really got it rolling there for a while against Jordy Chimanga.
They were able to isolate him down on the block for a couple of baskets, one to start the ball game. Then he was able to pull the freshman away from the rim, and he was really a difficult mismatch, utilizing his offensive versatility as well as his experience over the freshman Chimanga. This is how the ball game started. They isolated him one-on-one on the block. He turns to his left. Now, because he scored it going to his left, that head fake froze Chimanga, allowed him to go to his right, and then he pulled the big fella out away from the rim. And this was something I really liked what Illinois did, Kevin. They found a mismatch that they wanted to exploit, and they took advantage of it on his way to 10 first half points of 5 of 8 shooting.
Maverick Morgan was a big part of that first half on both ends of the floor for Illinois. And our principal financial group game summary, Morgan and Webster with those 10 points apiece. Jalen Coleman lands 4 rebounds, plus he got hot from three-point range, hit a couple of deep threes. Tracy Abrams with 4 assists. Ty Webster also with 4 assists. And in fact, when you look at Ty Webster's line, he's got 10 points. He's got 6 rebounds to go with those 6 from Ed Morrow, and he's got 4 assists. It's a ways away. I'll just say it. There's never been a triple-double in Nebraska basketball history.
Well, he still has a little bit of work to do, but I've been really impressed with his willingness to attack off the dribble. We talked about the mismatch that they had, or Illinois had, with Maverick Morgan, but Ty Webster was a mismatch, and the big reason that Illinois had to go to the 2-3 zone because of his ability to do just that, Kevin, to turn the corner, knock down a jump shot when it was there, but it was the ability to get to the rim, which really was the difference offensively in the first half for Nebraska. They looked like they might be able to be blown out of this ball game. Illinois not able to take advantage, and Nebraska hung around because of their ability to keep plays alive on the offensive window.
Ty Webster and the Huskers down a pair in a very competitive and physical first half of basketball.
You see Webster over there trying to stretch out. We talked about it in the first half. He didn't do anything in the shoot-around today because had a little bit of a hip injury, and it looked like he might have aggravated on one of those drives and completions at the rim. And Illinois going to force Nebraska to shoot over the top, still staying with that 2-3 zone.
Jacobson, good pass inside to Chimanga.
Jacobson did exactly what you have to do. He got in the gut of the defense, called for the basketball, forced the defense to collapse, and then a nice soft pass to Chimanga for the completion. Good recognition and completion by Nebraska.
There's Morgan. Double team comes.
Yep.
It's a calculated risk for Nebraska, isn't it?
It is, especially if you have a guy like Coleman lands on the floor, but you can do it now because he's not on the floor.
4 to shoot for Illinois. Tough pass, and it goes out of bounds. Huskers with good defense, and they force the turnover.
Good, strong hedges up there. Didn't allow Illinois to turn the corner and get inside the three-point arc.
Evan Taylor muscling up as he walks across the timeline. Tough pass inside. The teams will exchange turnover.
Yeah, and poor spacing there because Chimanga was already on the post, and when Jacobson came over, even if he catches that, they have extremely poor spacing. You have 2 red jerseys right on top of one another. There's a double again. Nice pass.
Black had it poked free by Webster, just enough to disrupt it. Now the flip back to LeRon Black. That one rolls home. Black was saddled with foul trouble. Only played 6 minutes in that first half.
And a headsy play by Abrams. Little misdirection dribble. Kind of got the defense shifting one way until Black was able to step into the short corner.
Evan Taylor, quick attack. Gets inside. That's not going to go, but a foul's called.
And Nebraska far more aggressive than we saw in the last part of the first half in attacking this 2-3 zone. They've done it with the interior feed. Here they do it off the dribble, and Chimanga got just enough right there of Morgan to make him a half a step late on the rotation.
Second foul on Maverick Morgan. Evan Taylor, 71% at the line. One more to come. These two teams battling to improve their position. It's the Big Ten Conference race and improve their position for the Big Ten tournament coming up in a week and a half. Tie game with 18:15 to go. The double again. Abrams wide open 3, and Tracy Abrams has been hitting those again of late.
And you notice what Morgan did, Kevin? He didn't allow the ball to stick in his hands. As soon as he saw that double team like a quarterback where he senses where the blitz is coming from, that's the open receiver. In that case, it was Abrams. Nice delivery out of the double team by Maverick Morgan.
Abrams came in 9 for 48 from 3 after the first 12 games of the year, where he hit it 60%. But he started to click a little bit of late as Webster drives inside, and the foul on Morgan is 3rd.
And Morgan picking up his 3rd foul on the defensive end of the floor, but on the offensive end, watch how quickly he gets the ball out of his hands. The step in, boom, the double team's coming. That allows Abrams to step into the 3. Excellent spacing makes this possible. You see where the double team's coming from. Abrams makes himself available and finds the bottom of the well.
7 for 17 now over the last 4 games from 3 for Tracy Abrams. And after the 3rd foul on Maverick Morgan, he leaves and Finke comes in.
And that's a big foul. Now he's going to be over there, my guess is, Kevin, at least until probably the 12-minute media timeout at the least. And he has really been a focal point of Illinois offensively. Let's see what kind of response Finke can provide.
Second free throw won't go, as Nebraska down by 2 will go back to work on defense. Lucas and Chimanga coming over for the block. The foul first on Glenn Watson.
Nice job by Illinois of spreading the floor. You didn't have, with Morgan out, you didn't have a post player in there to clutter things up. Look at the space, and they clear it out. Yeah, that's definitely a foul before Chimanga comes over. And even though Watson had the one hand up, Kevin, the other hand was down there kind of riding Lucas on his way to the rim.
So the first foul on Watson sends Tijon Lucas to the line for a pair. John Gross's squad trying to win their 3rd straight and improve to 7 and 9 in conference play. Both free throws good. Watson the lead for Jacobson. There's Chimanga against Black. And Jacobson gets it right back inside. Can't get it to go. Abrams got a piece of it, and now Abrams the other way.
Boy, and Illinois really dodged one. Why were they doubling Chimanga? That allowed the dive to the rim by Jacobson.
Hill, tough shot, and he splashes it down. 7-point lead for Illinois. And Chimanga can't handle the pass right through his hands.
Again, why are you giving it to him on the move, Kevin? That's just a play he's not capable of completing right now.
Webster came back to get it again. Taylor to the other end. That one goes home.
Chimanga will get there, but you need to make sure that he, in many cases, is turning and facing you before you give him the basketball. You can't expect him right now in his development to make a play off the move like that.
Finke, dangerous from the perimeter in.
This is a mismatch right now if you're Hill. You call for it back and try to take Jacobson off the bounce.
8 to shoot Finke against Taylor. The fade away for the big man. That won't go, and out of bounds to the Huskers.
With too much of a fade there. And now Illinois, with Finke going to the bench, getting much smaller. Although Nichols, the job he did on both ends of the floor, very impressive in the first half for Illinois.
There's Glenn Watson. 3 points tonight, only 3 shot attempts for Watson tonight. McVeigh on the dribble handoff to Webster. Entry to Morrow. Ed Morrow working it up, but first he took steps.
And a great job of rotating over by Lucas leads to the turnover. Defensive adjustments in abundance here in the second half in Lincoln.
Illinois with a 5-point lead, 40-35, 15:52 remaining in the second half. Kevin Kugler alongside Sean Morris. You're living in La La Land if you don't think that these are the most coveted awards in the history of basketball. Sean's Big Ten Oscars.
Well, unlike any of the movies that are up for awards, I've actually seen these 3 people perform, all right? And I'm sure that this is the highlights of all of their respective careers. Caleb Swanigan, not just a player of the year in the Big Ten candidate, but I think a legitimate national player of the year. Miles Bridges, getting him back healthy has really been important for Michigan State and Coach Tom Izzo. And how about the fact that Coach Richard Pitino and his Minnesota Golden Gophers have reeled off 7 straight. That is a team, Kevin, that won 8 games a year ago, 21 wins thus far in the Twin Cities.
I would assume that Richard Pitino is composing a string of tweets right now to thank Sean Morris for the honor.
I mean, people can't sleep waiting for these things to come out.
And Malcolm Hill baiting Evan Taylor into the contact, and he'll go to the line.
Number 11, Evan Taylor. His first personal foul, second team foul on the Huskers.
Great experience by Hill. They isolate him. The shot fake, Taylor off balance. He waits for him to get up in the air, makes sure that he puts his arm up to draw the attention of the official, and rather than have it be a common foul, it's a shooting foul.
And a 6-point lead for John Gross's Illini.
And this is a guy in Malcolm Hill, Kevin, I just think during the course of his career, it's going to take a while for people to really understand how good he was, because all this guy does is perform. He's not demonstrative. He doesn't draw attention to himself. He's a tremendous teammate, and not just an offensive player that can make a difference for his team, but also defensively very unselfish.
Webster off on the 3. Lucas starts it up the floor. Here's Hill once more. Hill going to work.
Yeah, and Webster giving him the business defensively.
And Black with the travel. It's a fun matchup to watch. Malcolm Hill and Ty Webster, two guys who you're going to see on all Big Ten teams coming up in about a week and a half.
And a couple of guys that true seniors. And Webster, you could see really honoring the scattering report. He wasn't going for anything up top. His eyes were locked in on the chest of Malcolm Hill.
Tough pass. Yeah. Watson to Morrow, and Nebraska turns it over. Easy play on the other end for LeBron.
Yeah, that's just a rare passing error by Glenn Watson. There's just no other way to put it.
And a timeout taken by Nebraska after the turnover. Illinois with the 9-point advantage, their largest lead of the night.
And it starts with defense again. Poor pass leads to a flush by LeBron Black.
Illinois on a 9-2 run to open up their largest lead, 44-35. Kevin Kugler alongside Sean Morris back in Lincoln. Here's the standings. Here's what the Huskers and Illinois playing for right now, trying to keep pace with some of those teams in the middle and trying to avoid dropping below that second yellow line, which puts you into the Big Ten tournament on Wednesday. Michigan State winning earlier. They've moved into the top 4 and into a double-bye position. And Sean, where do you see Michigan State as far as the postseason's concerned?
Well, I think right now they have to feel very good about being in the tournament. As we take a look at their resume, what's not on there, in addition to those games that are listed, which is very impressive, they also played Baylor, albeit they lost. They also played Louisville. So their non-conference schedule with that young team really tested them early. They battled some injuries, especially along the front line, but getting Miles Bridges back healthy, and in his absence, the development of Nick Ward, very, very impressive. And Cassius Winston continues to impress with his ability to find and make plays in the open floor for the Spartans.
Pretty impressive what they've been able to do since the Aaron Harris injury. And that's win 2 big games in resounding fashion. Webster trying to dump it inside, and it's another turnover for Nebraska. The Huskers have turned it over now 11 times.
Yeah, a lot of traffic in there. There was no way that pass was going to make it through.
Kipper Nichols, and the dump down turn back over to Nebraska. Huskers have relied a lot on Ty Webster, who leaves now and sits on the bench. Where does the offense come from for Tim Miles' squad?
Well, you're going to probably be reliant right now on Watson to try to get in the lane and create maybe for a kick out, because you don't have Chimanga in there for a post-up opportunity. You can also run Horn off a couple of screens, but right now Illinois is doing a very good job of getting over the top.
They fighting his way inside. Got a good look, gets the foul, and puts it back in.
Good spacing by Nebraska, and McVay, good job of staying with it. A year ago, he might have brought the ball down and allowed Illinois to come over and eliminate the second opportunity. Good job by McVay of keeping the ball high.
I can't believe that's a guy who had fallen out of the rotation earlier this year. He's played such a big role in conference play as the fouls on Glenn Watson, his second.
Well, he was instrumental, was McVay, in that big win versus Purdue. I mean, he knocked down some threes. That and their ability to double team the post was a big reason they were able to send the Boilermakers home with a loss. And back into the lineup right now for Illinois is Maverick Morgan.
Playing with 3 fouls. The deep 3 good for Coleman lands.
If you're in Nebraska, you're just pulling your hair out because you know that's what he does. You have to get out there, run him off the line, and at least make him put the ball on the floor. 10-point
lead now for Illinois. Good for their 3rd win in a row. And Morrow, another tough pass. The Huskers getting real sloppy with the basketball, and the tie-up will send it back to Illinois.
That's absolutely right. The last 3 times, Nebraska's been extremely loose with the basketball, and it's come back to haunt them. And then Horn, when there's a loose ball like that, Kevin, grab it. Don't try to make a fancy play. When the ball is loose like that, grab it and live to fight another day.
Huskers down by 10 at home. Nebraska on their home floor this year. An 8-6 record overall. Coleman lands the kick out. Good rotation to Abrams for three, and Tracy Abrams drains it again. He's 3 for 3 from behind the arc.
Excellent spacing made that possible. Because of Coleman Land's ability to knock down the three, you don't close out under control. Dribble drive, the kick, and then the extra pass by Hill.
Open look for Taylor, and Evan Taylor provides a huge answer for Nebraska. Huskers were desperate for a bucket.
Good cross screen to free up Morgan.
One-on-one against Jacobson. Goes to the right hand and drains it again. It's almost like he knew he had a new guy on him, so he went back to an old move.
And he was able to free himself up with that nice cross screen on the baseline.
Uriah Horn with the fake on the three. Running baseline and gets the two.
Now, if you're Illinois, force Nebraska to make a decision. You get the ball down to Morgan. Do they double team? And if he does, or they do, that shows the ability to go out, and Nebraska responding with a little bit of a 1-3-1 look defensively here in the half court.
See how Illinois attacks will tend to shoot. Hill with an open three, and it's good. That's how they attack.
And that's the second time in this ball game that Abrams has utilized that misdirection play, Kevin. He's dribbled one way, got the defense to shift, and then a quick kick back to an open shooter, in that case, Hill.
Illinois is 5 for 5 from three in this second half. That'll help you stretch a game out.
And that's not unusual for Nebraska, Kevin. The Cornhuskers, 39% field goal shooting from behind the arc allowed in the conference, last in that category.
They've been a little bit better of late. 25% allowed over the last 3 games, but in those 4 before, teams shot over 51% from three against the Huskers. Malcolm Hill on the drive. Abrams open again. And the first miss from behind the arc for Tracy Abrams tonight. But Tracy Abrams has provided a spark, Sean, with 9 points, all coming from behind the arc.
And he's a result of excellent spacing. Make yourself available, find it, deliver it. Illinois getting it done on the road. As a team, and Tracy Abrams 3 of 4, as is his teammate Malcolm Hill, also 3 of 4 from behind line. Excellent spacing and ball reversal have made those 3-point shooting opportunities available. Nebraska kind of rolled the dice, and they came up snake eyes, and Tracy Abrams really getting it done from behind the arc over the last couple of ball games for Illinois.
8th time this year that a Husker opponent has hit double figures from behind the arc. 7 of those 8 in conference play, Sean.
And Abrams also contributing in other ways tonight, Kevin. 6 assists, only 1 turnover for the 6th-year senior, who has more degrees than a thermometer by the time he leaves Champaign.
Webster hits the deep 2 at the top of the key as he comes back on the floor and immediately provides a spark. It's this end of the floor that has plagued Nebraska in the second half.
And Illinois has made it difficult, Kevin, because of their excellent spacing. There's been very few opportunities where the floor hasn't been spaced well. And a good job by Jacobson of not allowing Morgan to maintain the seal down there on the block.
Webster driving again. Got caught under the rim. Jacobson able to swat it back into play, but it's out of bounds. It looked like Webster came out of bounds and came back in, was the first to touch it, and that'll be the turnover. The Journey coming up next. Brand new episode of The Journey, Big Ten Basketball 2017. It's coming up at the bottom of the hour here on BTN. Hill in the corner. Black with the 3. LaRon Black hits just his 5th 3 of the year.
And again, it's excellent spacing and the unselfish play in this case of Malcolm Hill, which makes that possible.
58-44 Illinois. Watson, Strong, Black the board. Nebraska's coaching staff was worried about this Illinois defense. Big emphasis over the last couple of days of practice, and Illinois has been defending well tonight, just as they have the last couple of games.
Oh, you could just see that unfolding. No need to make that pass.
Here's Hill. Bumped by Watson, and a foul on Glenn Watson. That is number 3 on Watson.
And Watson's a little frustrated. Remember earlier in this half, he threw a poor pass to Morrow, which led to a breakout opportunity. And this opportunity in the open floor is made possible by another rare passing error by Watson. And looked like Hill might have gotten away with a little shuffle.
14-point lead for Illinois with the ball. Hill with the 3, launches and hits again. 12 for 21 from behind the arc for Illinois.
And that was actually pretty good defense by Webster. He had to fight through a couple of screens, but Illinois just as a team so confident offensively.
Tip up and in. Not sure if they'll give it to Morrow or Webster. Ty Webster gets credit for that one.
Let's see if they get a post touch for Morgan with Morrow on him.
Coleman Lands running free for 3. And Jacobson the rebound. Only the second miss of the second half from behind the arc for Illinois. Webster all the way in. Morrow following, but a foul. Webster trying to shoulder the load himself right now, Sean. Second foul on Malcolm Hill.
Now, there's no question what Webster's doing in the open floor. I mean, look at how many gray jerseys are back there, and Webster's still able to turn the corner and draw the contact.
Huskers will inbound with Watson. Now we've got a little bit of jawing going on. Jacobson and Coleman Lands having a Sunday night discussion.
See, and what I like by the 2 officials, in this case, Terry Weimer comes over with the players, and Pat Driscoll went over and talked to Coach Miles. You know, decelerate the whole situation. No need to accelerate. Good job by both of those guys.
Tough pass. Webster tracking it down with Lucas on his heels.
It's been this end of the floor which has really been the difference for Illinois, not just tonight, Kevin, but over the course of the last couple of weeks, defensively.
They've held 5 of their last 6 opponents under 70 points. And in that span, opponents are shooting just 32% from 3 and averaging 64 points per game. In a lot of games when you're holding people under 65 a game.
And the increased playing time of Kipper Nichols and Lucas has really kind of coincided with that.
Lucas looking to move, and Webster with the blocking foul. His first. And the 15th foul on the Huskers in this second half. Malcolm Hill right back on the floor for Kipper Nichols.
Nice curl. Good challenge by Webster.
The ball bouncing free. Nobody wanted it. 3-on-1. Here's Morrow to the rim. And the hammer from Ed Morrow.
It started with the challenge because Coleman Lands was going to shoot that. And because of the challenge, he got caught up in midair. That led to the miscue and a breakaway.
Timeout was called. And that'll stop it with 7:49 remaining in the second half. Huskers trying to get a little bit of a spark from Ed Morrow on the drive to the rim. Can he light a fire for the Big Red? Basketball on BTN is brought to you in part by State Farm. Talk to an agent today at 800-STATE-FARM. Historic Haymarket in downtown Lincoln. Just down the road is Pinnacle Bank Arena, where Illinois still enjoying an 11-point lead. 7:49 remaining in the second half. But can this spark Nebraska, Sean Morris?
We're in downtown Lincoln, and in downtown Lincoln, Ed Morrow pounds it down off of excellent defensive play to force the turnover from Coleman Lands, and that's much needed for Nebraska because unlike Illinois here in the second half, easy baskets for the Cornhuskers have been few and far between.
Still, though, Illinois enjoying the lead of 11. It was once a 17-point lead for Illinois. But the three-point shooting tonight for Illinois has been the story. Look at the numbers by half. This is just from the floor. 77% shooting for Illinois in the second half and 78% from three-point land.
Good help there by Morrow until McVay was able to recover on Hill.
Hill off the mark. That shot clock winding down. He had no choice, had to shoot.
Pretty good defensive sequence by Nebraska.
Now can they cash in on this end? McVay will feed Morrow back to Webster. Morrow against Maverick Morgan, working his way inside. Couldn't get that one to go. The rebound tipped out to Lucas. 11-point advantage for Illinois. Illini fans watching this over the last couple of weeks have probably said, where's this team been all year?
Especially
Ending hard, shooting well.
Yeah, especially defensively. That's really spurred them.
Catch by Abrams. Abrams will try from the corner, and he hits again. Tracy Abrams with 4 made threes. If you're an Illinois fan, you got to feel good for Tracy Abrams. He had two of the worst months you can have for a shooter ever. And yet he has persevered. He's battled. He's stayed out there. He's having a night tonight.
And this is a difficult shot because the ball never really reversed. And you've got Webster coming out hands high. That's how you know you're shooting the ball confidently, Kevin, because a couple of weeks ago, he probably wouldn't have even attempted that shot, let alone converted it. But because over the last couple of ball games, he's seen the ball go through the rim, his confidence has risen, and it showed tonight.
Only twice this year has Tracy Abrams hit 4 or more threes before tonight. He did it November 15th against McKendree when he went 4 for 4. You probably watched that game.
Yes, that's my social life. Yes, go ahead.
And Central Michigan, he was a robust 7 of 8 from 3. That was the last time he hit more than 3 in a game. December 10th against Central Michigan. Tracy Abrams tonight with 12 points and 6 assists. The 8 points he had against Northwestern was his best performance in the last 13 games from a scoring standpoint, as LaRon Black can't get that one to go, and the rebound will go out of bounds off the Huskers.
And that really sums up the evening for Nebraska. They've got the inside position, not just one, but 2 red jerseys, and they're just not able to corral the rebound. A good screen by Black. Oh, that's a walk.
Travels it back to Nebraska.
I mean, he laid. You might want to check the chicklets after that one, because it was a clean screen, but it was a blind one, and that was just a breakdown in communication. You'd have to let your teammate know that's coming.
Webster around that screen. 3 pinballing out. Pops out on your own rim like that.
And there are no flippers to put it back in.
There are not. 120 and under.
Oh, they have no idea what
Flippers like on a fish?
Yeah, they have no idea what a pinball machine is.
Google it, kids. And a foul is going to be called. McVay.
And he's hurt.
And he's still down.
Yep.
Grabbing his leg, left leg.
He might have caught a knee kind of in that thigh as he's trying to rotate over.
Checking the Huskers, number 2.
See if we can see what happened with Jack McVay.
He's trying to get over the top. Yeah, it looks like they bump knees, and that does not feel good. And as you can tell, as McVay hobbles over.
What is it that when 2 players bump knees, it's always one who gets the worst of the collision?
It's usually, it's not the guy that's
initiating.
Exactly. There may be some kind of physics in there, but I missed that day.
I ask you because of your multiple doctorates.
Yeah.
The 3 won't go, and Watson the rebound.
Yes, I am the Doogie Howser of basketball.
Warren with the 3. And Nebraska has not had the same success behind the arc that Illinois has. 4 for 12 for the Huskers from 3.
And you compare how long Nebraska's had to defend conversely against Illinois. A lot of these shots that Nebraska has missed have come early, and then they've had to go back and try to lock it down defensively for 25 to 30 seconds.
Hill gets again from the elbow. Hill tonight. If it's possible to have a quiet 18, he has that. Watson traveled. And Nebraska starting to show some frustration. 14 turnovers now on the night for the Huskers. Illinois cashed those into 16 points.
And as impressive as Illinois has been on the offensive end, the big difference has been defensively. When they went to that 2-3 zone, when Nebraska was really kind of making that run in the first half, it stemmed the tide and allowed them to hold on to a halftime lead. Going to that 2-3 zone was a really big switch for Illinois defensively, and now they've been able to kind of answer the call on the offensive end here in the second.
4:12 to go. Does Nebraska have a run in them, or can Illinois hold them off as Roby commits the foul? 7th team foul, so Illinois will shoot free throws the rest of the way. Don't forget, bottom of the hour, The Journey. All new Journey coming up next on BTN. Ed Morrow will be a feature in tonight's Journey. 6 points, 7 rebounds in 20 minutes so far tonight for Morrow. One more for Tijon Lucas. You always wonder when a team has some struggles over the course of the season. Both of these teams have seen those struggles, but Illinois certainly saw a lot of struggles and a lot of conversation about what was the direction of this team. This team is playing awfully hard, Sean.
Especially on the defensive end of the floor. And Kevin, we talked not only at the beginning of the season, but throughout the course of the year, of the experience of Illinois, and that has certainly paid dividends. But it's been 2 first-year players in the form of Lucas and Nichols, which in my opinion have kind of spurred them on the defensive end and find them with a chance right now to get their 3rd straight win in conference play on the road.
Of the Journey tonight, the big focus in this one has been the Illinois Fighting Illini, as Ed Morrow, solid game tonight, but not enough to overcome the red-hot shooting from behind the arc of Illinois. Malcolm Hill leading the way for the Illini with 18 points. Pacing Illinois, one of 3 players in double figures. Malcolm Hill, incidentally, as he'll inbound, Sean, now is 5th place all-time on the Illinois scoring list. His bucket a moment ago gave him 18 points tonight. That puts him at 1,736 points in his career. One better than Corey Bradford.
What a tremendous career, and still more to come for Malcolm Hill. And it's not just been what he's accomplished, but how he's done it. Classic kid.
Tracy Abrams fouled on Ed Morrow. He'll go to the line. Huskers selling out on that pressure in the backcourt, and an easy 2-on-1 on the other end for Illinois.
His 3rd personal foul, team number 8 on the Huskers.
Ball was in the hand of one senior, Malcolm Hill, who was able to break the pressure and go over the top to Tracy Abrams. Did a good job of absorbing the contact and get it up toward the rim.
One more attempt for Abrams, who's got 12 points, 6 assists, and 2 rebounds tonight. Maverick Morgan back on the floor for Michael Finke.
And with those 6 assists, only 1 turnover.
Illinois with a 15-point lead, in time a big factor now for Nebraska. Watson will try the 3. Long rebound. Abrams is there for it. And now numbers for Illinois. Abrams on the lob. And Morrow able to get in there and break it up in front of Black. John Gross wanted a foul.
And no one's happy right now, because then Nebraska was unhappy that they thought Black kind of gave Morrow a shove at the end of the play.
Speaking of unhappy, now Tim Miles unhappy as Evan Taylor's called for the offensive foul.
Well, Illinois, again, a miscue. Nice contest right there. Watch right there. That's what got the fans upset when you saw at the tail end of the play, Black just kind of discard Morrow right there. Then it comes the other way, and An offensive foul gives it right back to Illinois.
Illinois on the offensive end has been the more patient offensive team in the half court. They've been working clock and getting time as Lucas steps back and hits the 2.
Yeah, it's your night if you're Illinois. I mean, it's just flat out your night because Watson was all in the jersey of the freshman. He's still able to create space.
Roby, speaking of being your night, he just lost the ball on the way up.
There'll be better nights for that young man. I really like the future of Isaiah Roby. He just hasn't been able to perform tonight.
Foul on Taylor. Stops it with 2:40 to go. Malcolm Hill continuing his climb. Brian Cook very much in jeopardy in that number 4 spot. And depending on what they do down the stretch, maybe a game or 2 in the Big Ten tournament. Maybe he gets top 3 all time.
Just solid, consistent, wonderful teammate. And last year, I think he showed so much with his willingness because of all the injuries they had, Kevin. He had to guard essentially every position on the floor at one point in time a season ago, and you never heard one complaint. Not one.
He's one of 4 major conference players to have 475 points or more, 150 rebounds or more, 75 assists or more this year. One of 2 in the Big Ten. Caleb Swanigan also has that stat line. And there's Hill with the rebound, and a foul is going to be called. Malcolm Hill going down to get that ball and get it back. As Chimanga commits the personal foul, that'll march us down for free throws. And there's Tracy Abrams. What a night he's had. In fact, he's our Duluth Trading hardest working player. It has been a rough go for the senior in conference play, Sean, but he broke out tonight.
Well, he's our Duluth Trading hardest working player of this evening, but how about over the course of the last 2 years, you can make that an extended award for him, because to come back from not just 1 but 2 catastrophic injuries, one a knee, the other an Achilles, just the fact that he was able to return and wanted to return and persevered enough to come out and not just play but excel, you really have to admire the tenacity of that young guy.
Yeah, no question about that. And he took advantage of his time off in the classroom. He got a bachelor's and a master's degree over the last 2 years, and he's working on another master's degree. Chimanga is fouled, battling for the rebound inside. Fifteen foul on Illinois. Watson will inbound. Fuller off the bench for Nebraska. And an entry pass and a foul called on Malcolm Hill. 6th team foul on Illinois. 3rd on Hill.
Team number 6 on the line.
Will try to go to work against Maverick Morgan. The runner not there, and the rebound Illinois.
And Chimanga hasn't shown it tonight, Kevin, but I tell you what, that kid's going to be good. He cares. He puts the time in. You've seen his confidence rise throughout this season. He's going to do nothing but get better and better and get more versatile, especially on the offensive end.
Illinois trying to close in on their 3rd straight win. Inside, not going to go as the shot clock goes off. Loose ball in the corner. There's Lucas over to pick it up again.
Yeah, that'll just burn a fresh 30 right now.
My goodness. Illinois doing it on defense again. This will be the 6th of the last 7 under 70 points, and there's a 5-second count.
Yeah, and that, you know, Abrams, if he puts the ball on the floor, you can dribble it all day long. There's no closely guarded when you put the ball on the floor, but when you put it under there, because I was doing the count over here. I got the 5, by the way, which strained my mathematical abilities, but probably not what Illinois wanted to.
Taylor's 3 won't go. Roby trying to crash the boards. Fuller got it, and a foul is called. Fuller will go to the line. Well, there goes Tracy Abrams, headed off to talk with his head coach. And Tracy Abrams tonight, our Duluth Trading hardest working player, 13 points, 6 assists.
1 turnover and 2 steals.
He's been working doubly hard tonight, both offense and defense. Fuller can't get it to go. The tip by Fuller to Roby, and Roby with his first 2 of the night. 1 minute to go, and a foul before the inbound. It'll go on Watson. It'll be his 4th, and we'll march to the other end for free throws. After tonight, for John Gross's squad, it's Michigan State on Wednesday. And then they finish at Rutgers before heading off to the Big Ten tournament for Nebraska. Not an easy week to close, Sean. They're at Minnesota. Red-hot Gophers await the Huskers midweek. And then you and I are back here with our BTN crew on Sunday to close the regular season. Final game of the Big Ten schedule when Nebraska plays Michigan.
Yeah, the Cornhuskers get arguably the 2 hottest teams in the league right now coming in here, along with Michigan State, who will play Illinois, as you mentioned. Nebraska getting Michigan, who's played very, very well, especially Derek Walton Jr. And then, you know, you're playing Michigan, or what the hell say? Yeah, we just talked about that.
Minnesota?
Yeah, Minnesota. They're not bad either.
No, they're all right. Some would say they're pretty good.
7 in a row. Especially when you consider they dropped 5 in a row. You know, so to rebound from that, Minnesota playing as well as anybody, especially on the defensive end of the floor, anchored back there by Reggie Lynch. Yesterday, 11 blocks, no fouls.
Abrams launching, can't get that one to go. Final 18 seconds of this one. Malcolm Law's on the floor right now for Nebraska. Roby, and a turnover for the Huskers. Their 18th turnover of the night. And Illinois will put on the brakes and dribble out their 3rd straight win. What a win for John Gross and the Fighting Illini on the road, and they dominate the second half, outscoring Nebraska 43-29 in the second half, and they win it 73-57. And this Illinois team, late in the season, Sean Morris, has found a shot of confidence.
They found their shot as well in the literal form from behind the arc in this ball game. But Kevin, much as it's been in their 2 previous games which were victories, it carried over on the defensive end of the floor. When Illinois switched to that 2-3 zone toward the end of the first half, it really stymied Nebraska when it looked like they were making a run, and Illinois able to maintain that momentum in the second 20 minutes.
Illinois 17-12 and 7-9 in league play as the Huskers fall to 6-10 in the league. Our final score tonight, Illinois wins at 73-57. For Sean Morris, I'm Kevin Kugler. This has been a presentation of the Big Ten Network. Again, our final score, Illinois 73, Nebraska 57. Stay tuned. An all-new episode of The Journey, Big Ten Basketball 2017.